Okay, so taking a look at your quiz. We'll go through these here. So the first problem on your quiz says, find two angles that give you the following. Theta is equal to the inverse sine of 1/2. Well, I know that in order to solve these triangles, we use 30, 60, 90, 1, 2, and root 3. So it looks like in order to get the inverse sine of 1/2, we would have to use 30 degrees. And if all students take calculus, we would also put 30 degrees in this quadrant to also give us a sine of 1/2. So the answer for number 1 would be 30 degrees and 150 degrees. For the second problem, it's asking us find two angles between 0 and 360. Theta would equal the inverse cosine of 0. And in order to use this, we have to think about what cosine is for a quadrantal angle, and cosine is the x value. So theta would be 90 degrees, and it would be 270 degrees. For problem number 3, find two angles that give us an inverse secant of negative root 2. That's going to come from our 30, 60, 90 triangle. Or actually, no, it's going to come from our 45, 45, 90 triangle. 1, 1 on root 2. So secant would be the reciprocal of cosine, and 45 degrees would give us a secant of root 2. Because it's negative, we're going to draw 45 degrees in the quadrants where cosine or secant are negative. And if all students take calculus, we're not going to draw here or here. We would draw 45 degrees in this quadrant, because there our secant would be negative root 2. It would be negative 1 over root 2, which is what we want. Those angles would be 180 minus 45 is 135 degrees, and 180 plus 45 is 225 degrees. Problem number 4, it's asking us, let's see here, to evaluate the tangent of the inverse sine of root 3 over 2 minus the inverse cosine of root 3 over 2. Well, root 3 over 2 comes from this triangle, 30, 60, 90 triangle, 1, 2, and root 3. So what angle gives us a sine of root 3 over 2? Well, that would be 60 degrees. What angle gives us a cosine of root 3 over 2? That would be 30 degrees. 60 minus 30 is 30 degrees. The tangent of 30 would be 1 over root 3, which if we rationalize, turns into root 3 over 3. One more problem, number 5. It's asking us to evaluate the cosecant of the inverse tangent of 4/3. So this would tell us how to draw our triangle. Here's the angle, and the tangent of that angle is 4/3. So using special triangles or Pythagorean theorem, we know 3, 4, 5. The cosecant would therefore be the hypotenuse over the opposite, or 5/4. All right, thank you. Stay tuned for today's lesson.